Hello friends, I'm Miss Deanna and I'm here at the Bell Road branch of the Newburgh-Chandler Public Library, and we're going to have an adventure in art. I'd like to share with you some information about one of my favorite artists of all time. Her name is Georgia O'Keeffe. Georgia O'Keeffe decided when she was just 12 years old that she was going to be an artist. Do you know somebody who's 12 years old? Do you know somebody who wants to be an artist? Do you want to be an artist? Well, she was determined. After she graduated, she moved to the big city and she spent a lot of years in the big city. But you know what? Georgia was one of those people who liked to be places that are quiet with not too many people. And so eventually she moved out to New Mexico in the American Southwest. And she moved out into the desert and she lived there all the time. And she loved going out early in the morning and seeing all the different colors. She would write letters to her friends, and there is an author named Kathryn Lasky. And Kathryn Lasky read those letters, and she used those letters to write her book, Georgia Rises, A Day in the Life of Georgia O'Keeffe. So let's join Georgia O'Keeffe. Let's see what it's like to live in her world in the desert. Come closer. Let's take a look and see where Georgia lives and what she does every day. Here we are in Georgia's world. Here's Georgia's house. Do you see the ladder that goes up to the roof of her house? And then the mountains that are in the background and all the different colors that are in those mountains. Georgia wakes. The moon is bright in the black sky. Her back and feet hurt. She is 70 years old. She stretches. Soon the black sky will fade to lavender. Time to get up, Georgia, she tells herself. She changes into a long black dress, brushes her hair, and puts it up in a bun. Hurry up, she tells herself. The lavender is coming. She boils hot water for her tea, gives water to the dogs, gets her walking stick for scaring off rattlesnakes, and stretches again. Outside, the black has turned to gray, and a raven flies across the sky as Georgia gathers her brushes and paints. The sky is lavender now. The moon is gone and the sun is just rising over the mountains. She walks into the desert and finds a white bone. She sits right on the desert floor and begins to paint. As she paints, the sky turns an eggshell blue. The hills around Georgia are rusty red. Later, as she walks home, she picks up an interesting chunk of rock and a smooth piece of wood. Georgia will paint all day. As the sky turns dark blue, she climbs the ladder to the roof of her house to watch the colors of the sky and the colors of the hills change. She looks through the hole in a bone and sees the color of the sky through that hole. Finally, the sky turns black. The moon comes out. And Georgia starts to think about all the things that she will paint tomorrow. She climbs back down the ladder. Her feet still hurt, but her back doesn't hurt anymore. She brushes her teeth after she's had some dinner, goes to bed until the next morning when the lavender comes again. So the story you just heard about Georgia was when she was in her 70s. I have a picture of Georgia when she was much younger. And if you'll notice in this picture, Georgia is sitting on the ground and she is looking at some flowers. One of the things that Georgia O'Keeffe was famous for was her very enlarged pictures of flowers. She got up very close to those flowers so people could see the petals up very close and the colors up very close. So there's two things that she said. She said, I found that I could say things with color and shapes that I couldn't say in any other way, things I had no words for. So when I told the story about the different colors that she would see in the sky. And when she looked at flowers up close, she said, now remember, she was living in the city when she said this, nobody sees a flower, really, it's so small, it takes time. And most people in the city rush around, so they have no time to look at a flower. So she sort of made them look at a flower by getting up close like that. The other thing that she was famous for drawing was skulls, or things that were in the desert in the Southwest. Some people think skulls are kind of scary. Some people think they mean bad things like death. But she didn't see it that way. She would look at the skull and she would see all the different colors in it. She would also hold up the skull to the sky and she would look through the hole in the skull and she would see the sky through that hole and she would paint a picture. It looks like she's looking through a window, but she's looking through a bone. People thought Georgia was fearless, an old woman going out into the desert with just a stick to scare off the rattlesnakes. But Georgia said, I'm afraid all the time. I just never let that stop me from what I was doing. Okay, friends, this is a way that you can try and mimic some of the artwork that Georgia O'Keeffe does. So Miss O'Keeffe would make pictures of flowers, but she would extend them all the way to the end of her paper. She would also blend the colors together. So a white petal wasn't just a white petal, it might have white or a little bit of blue in it. And one of the easy things you can use to blend colors is chalk. If you have some chalk at home, even sidewalk chalk would work. Now the problem with chalk is that sometimes the colors smear together. But the good thing about chalk is sometimes the colors smear together. And that's exactly what we want. So on this paper, what I have done is I have used plain old Elmer's glue. And I have drawn on the paper what I want the flower to look like. And then I let it dry overnight. So the glue dries clear, but it also creates a little bit of a barrier. So now I can smear without smearing into the places I don't want to smear into. So let's say I want the center of my flower to be green, but I also think a little bit of white would be nice in there. I can take my finger and I can smear the colors right up to the edge of where the glue is, and the glue helps me keep all my colors inside. Now a lot of her paintings were white, so we're gonna put some white over here on this petal. This is a great big petal. And this time I'm going to smear it a little bit first to sort of fill it all in. The nice thing about working on black paper if you can get some black paper, is that it really makes the colors show up nicely. And then I'm going to take a little bit of blue on the edges like this. And then I'm going to blend that in too. So you can use this for drawing flowers, but you don't have to use it to draw flowers. You can use it to draw a skull or maybe mountains with lots of colors. Anything you think you'd like to draw, but look at it up nice and close and make your picture nice and big. Use up the whole piece of paper. Well, I hope you have enjoyed visiting with Miss Georgia O'Keeffe. And I hope that when you go out and look around, you look at things very closely and see what they look like up close, and if you would like to try and draw a picture of them. Even if you don't like to draw, you might like to take some time to just look at things up really close and see what they look like that way. And until we meet again, sing with me now. We wave goodbye like this. We wave goodbye like this. We clap our hands and stomp our feet. We wave goodbye like this. Bye for now.